Welcome back to the Board Drill Podcast. As usual, my name is Kyle Bradburn. With me is my co-host, Matt Dixon. And tonight we have a special guest. We have Coach Dennis Thomas from Horizon High School. I got that right, correct? It is Horizon High School, right? There's no tack on the end of it or anything like that.
That is correct. Some people love
Coach
to attach Horizon West to it, and we are in Horizon West area, but it's Horizon High School. Yes, you're correct.
I don't know why I want to say Tech after it, Coach. Like all week long, I'm like, yeah, Horizon Tech. Why do I keep saying that?
I think for me, a commercial comes on at Verizon, and it sounds like Horizon, and kind of sexy, but no.
So Coach Thomas is a two-time FACA District Coach of the Year in 2022 and 2015. He's also the 2022 Orange County West Metro Coach of the Year. So Coach has done a really good job, has been in that kind of Orlando area for, a handful of years now. And he got to do something that a lot of us always wonder what we would do. And he got to basically open a brand new program at a brand new school. And we're having him on tonight to talk about that. So first off, Coach, what in the world made you want to take on this task, this journey?
That's a great question. I had a job, and then I didn't have a job, so I had to find something else to do. And to be honest, I went to Evans High School, and I was going over to help a friend that got the job there at Evans High School, Kennard Lane. And so I was going over there to work for him, and everything was all peaches, I thought. And then I got offered a job. And, you think, well, I don't know, man, because I haven't taken any easy jobs as far as the head coach jobs go. And, I've taken projects, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. This is crazy, man. We're starting from scratch, we're not going to have any seniors. I don't want to do this, but as soon as I was offered the job, I pretty much took it because I just knew that this is what I am. I'm a football coach, I'm a head coach. It's what I am, and I knew that's what I was. And if anything, the few weeks I got from Kennard was just enthusiasm, and he just you could see the excitement coming out of his pores. And I'm like, man, I need to get some of that. So, he taught me some of that, I thought, in those couple weeks. And yeah, I was ready to go. I was ready to go again. And so that's why feel like I have some experience doing it. Learned, we helped open a Coe High School, when that opened up with Coach Daler. And so I saw it kind of happen. And I said, all right, let's try it. And, I'm blessed. I came over here. I live over here. It's a beautiful area. The sky looks cleaner. The roads look cleaner. The air is cleaner. It's a beautiful place.
And Coach, that's fantastic. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, you're good. I was just going to go into the next question. Like, Coach, when you take over a new program, there's obviously a vision you're going to have for that program. So can you kind of tell us how you define that vision and mission for your new program there at Horizon?
Yeah, we have a couple things, but, the overall, I think, umbrella is, we know what a horizon is, definition. It's where the sky meets the ground, I guess, kind of. You're looking. So we're saying we want people to look to the horizon. We kind of make that cliche statement, and it's the idea of we want people to look at us. We don't want to be anybody else. We want people to look at us. We want to be the example. And so that's what we use. Other than that, I thought that the original principal, Laura Busey, came up with a great slogan for the school, and it's called Elevate the Pursuit. And so, we say that before I say anything to the kids, I say Elevate the Pursuit, and they say ETP. And what it means is basically to just elevate higher, strive for more. If you got a B, go for an A. If you want to be a better player, you got to work harder. And that was my promise to them, the community and the players and all that, is that we're going to try hard to do things the right way and do more maybe than other people. So, if it seems scary, to do, we try to do it, you know. So we, everybody talks about how, what's the best way to film practice, right? This is an interesting story. So a drone. So I'm like, all right, let's go get a drone. And I've never been that way. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of very similar to, America, Russia, oh, I mean, we spent $1 million to make a pen that would write in space, and then Russia just used a pencil. That's me usually. But but I'm here at a great school, and I feel like we got to elevate the pursuit. We got to strive higher. But yeah, sometimes it hits you in the face because we tried to use a drone, and we're on pretty close to Disney property, so guess what? We can't use drones. So,
Well, Coach, there actually is an answer for that. As a certified drone pilot myself,
okay,
you have to get a Part 107 license, and you have to make an LAANC request every day that you want to fly.
wow,
You can get clearance for it, but you do have to go through. Like, I had to take an actual pilot's test. That was the hardest standardized test I've ever taken in my life. And
wow.
so I don't know if we certainly will never have a pilot that listens to this, but if they do, God bless you, because I've passed every school test, every coaching test, every teaching test with barely even trying. I made a 71 on that thing. You had to make at least a 70.
Wow.
And I'll be honest with you, I thought I made a 50. And it would have cost me another $175. So that is the answer. If you can get any of your kids to get an actual Part 107 license, you'll be able to fly there. But good luck with that. It is tough. But your kids are actually pretty smarter than me, so they'll probably be able to do it.
I like how you can't run a drone up 30 feet, but Disney can shoot rockets into the sky every night for fireworks.
Right. Yes.
But
Well,
Coach,
usually that would scare me. Usually I would back away, but like I said, it's elevate the pursuit, so I might have to try that. It was funny,
Coach,
I thought it was so fake the first time. I was like, no way, we can fly a drone. And then we try, and it just wouldn't go up.
Coach,
Like, okay.
they will not take off now. They have new chips in them, and the software will not let it take off in certain areas.
That's
so
amazing.
I go through that daily. I do it on golf courses for a living now, and you'd be shocked at how many golf courses are next to airports. So
wow.
But Coach, you made a really good point I want to drop back to here. And you talked about, when talking about elevating the pursuit and doing things you're scared of, I think that is a big piece of coaching today. So many coaches are so, I don't want to call them scared, but they're so rigid and they don't want to embrace that change. And football has changed as much today, probably in the last 5 years, as it has in the last 20 before that. And so that ability to adapt to ongoing things in football, to new technology, to all this other stuff, I think is really important. So I love the fact that you talk about being real rigid in the past, and now you're like, look, we're shooting for the stars. We're going to do whatever we need to do to be great. So I think that may be one of the best things I've already heard on the podcast. That's fantastic. So moving on to the piece of it. All right. So you got the job, you show up, there's probably not even a school there, correct? They're probably still in the process of building it.
That's correct.
So what were your first steps? Are at this point, are you trying to assemble your coaching staff? Or are you just trying to get a lay of the land? Tell me about how that goes.
Yeah, a lot of things to remember there. But one thing I would say is that when you are trying to, create a football team from scratch, that's exactly what you're doing. And so everything you can think of, you guys as football coaches, you know what I'm saying. Like, you just have to go to the beginning. And we started, we didn't have a school, right? So we're practicing before the school opened. We're practicing at Bridgewater Middle, which is right over there in Independence area, which is basically very close to Horizon West. And we got an okay to even do it. And this portable city, man, Bridgewater Middle was one of the biggest middle schools in the nation, apparently, at one point. And that's one thing about our area. It's supposed to be the fastest growing area in the nation as well. So that's a plus. But you had the principal, the bookkeeper, the AD, they're all in portables. So I get hired, I leave, where I'm working at school to drive over there, which is good 40, 45 minutes away. But I was very flexible at the time where I can go over there, and I get over there. And I guess the first thing is just I had a great AD. What's great is I didn't have to order everything myself. He kind of started. I wasn't hired right away. I was hired. Yes, maybe I'm one of the first employees hired as far as just the faculty, but I wasn't hired right away. I didn't know I wanted to do that, first of all. And so when that came about and I got the job, you're driving over there and you just, hey, all this stuff just came. It's in this portable, portable 99. And you go over
Uh,
there and you get in the portable and you're looking at all the stuff, you're opening stuff, seeing what you have. You're opening helmets, you're opening wristbands, you're opening practice cloth. Because he did a great job in ordering for the most part, I would definitely say. Very experienced AD. And then, maybe you're help ordering things and things are kind of building up like, hey, what do you want in the weight room? Oh, let me call some people I know. And, fortunately, I've been able to coach some guys that uh, have that job. They're in the strength conditioning staff at places, and I can ask them, hey, what do you need in the weight room? Because that's one of the big pieces for a football team. As far as coaching staff, they don't make coaches like they used to.
Not in this state, right? They go to
So,
Georgia.
so it's a fun little thing you do when you're trying to create a staff. And I think as soon as you feel like you created the perfect staff, somebody's leaving to go get a head coach job. So
Oh yeah.
it's man, there's a lot of questions in there. I mean, coaching staff wise, I could tell you how I operate. I try to coach or try to find family. That's my first step. I try to find family because if you can find family, things can't get too bad. If that makes any sense to you,
Yeah.
when things hit the fire and you get into an argument, you get over it because you're like family. And then coaching, to find coaches, and I heard my principal even says this, who was an ex football coach, which is wonderful because I've never had that before. He says, and I can't remember all the steps, but he basically says, loyalty, and I don't know if loyalty is a great word that I would use. But dedication, loyalty, and then knowledge is the last thing. You feel like you can teach a guy football, but you can't teach him dedication. You can't teach him the loyalty of it, to each other. And so that's kind of what I look for, first and foremost. Yes, it's wonderful to have guys who know the game, but if you want to know the game, that's almost bigger than knowing the game. How many times these young guys now, they think they just got fresh out of college. They think they know everything, and they know nothing. And but they want to be coordinators right away. And how many
Yeah.
guys just feel so high and mighty, and they don't go to coaching clinics anymore, and they don't want to learn. I think that's the biggest thing that we do, man. I'm a football junkie, man. I love football so much. I go to clinics for no reason. I know a guy, Tom Haggerty, who goes to football clinics, and he doesn't even coach football anymore. He just goes. And I know that's going to be me one day. So that's
Yeah,
how I look
that's
at it.
probably me and Matt.
that's
Matt
what
and
I do.
We've already talked about how to sneak into Glacier and just set
Yeah.
up a podcast
Yeah.
for coaches when we're there. So don't be shocked if you see us wandering around looking awkward, because we definitely didn't pay to be there. So Glacier, you're not listening, but if you are, just let us in for free.
Yeah.
But Coach, that you make a great point. Me and Coach Aver, who's been on the podcast before, and Coach Dixon talk about this all the time on hiring coaches. It's almost better to find a guy who's really, really good with the kids and really good at developing relationships, and I can teach that dude football.
Mhm.
Right? I can teach that young guy football. But if I get an older guy that thinks he knows, even if he is a good coach, thinks he knows everything, doesn't want to develop relationships, he can be a lot more harmful to my program than a young guy that doesn't know any ball. And
Absolutely.
so that is an important piece there, Coach, that I completely agree with you on.
Absolutely.
Matt, do you have anything to add? I mean, Matt, you're the head coach guru here. So when you talk about hiring young coaches and stuff, I was only a head coach for a year. I was super unsuccessful. But you did it a lot better for a lot longer than I did.
I think that Coach Thomas hit it right on the nose. There's a lot of young guys out there that, it's pushing them to better themselves as coaches, where they think that they have reached the pinnacle a few years in. They've played Madden, they've watched college football, they watch, and we talk about it all the time. You got to pull those guys in, you got to get them on the board and make them explain the concepts to you, and try to develop internally, where if they won't go to clinics, they won't do that to get better themselves, they become a hindrance on your program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, Coach, so you kind of talked about equipment needs and things like that. So I know your AD, you talked about him doing a good job of that, and you talked about some things. Were there any things that, like, really late in the process you were like, oh crap, we have to order this? Like things that, you're like, we completely forgot about this because it was new and we're so used to having it?
Oh man,
I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
no, I'm just trying to. I don't know about that too much. I do really think he did a good job. I think that some hiccups. Knee pads. We had knee
Coach, that's
pads.
the eternal hiccup.
Kyle's a big knee pad guy.
we had knee pads, but they were some juicy, big old knee pads.
Big ones, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, who ordered these? Like, where did these come from? And so, here we are cutting. Man, but you know what? Going back to my somewhat old ways, pinch a penny a little bit, and we used them suckers for 2 years, cutting them into shape and all that.
Oh yeah,
we had so many.
Coach Dixon talks about the knee pad thing because I talk about this all the time. I commonly refer to it as my only success as a head coach was, and this is a true story, Coach, we did not lose one knee pad when I was a head coach. Not one knee pad.
That is.
We
Listen,
also only won one game.
With how many players?
We only had 19 players, Coach.
Okay.
So it's not too much of a brag.
Well.
I was at a real small private school during COVID, so it was real fun. But
so, Coach, you get the job. You get there. What was one thing you really were excited to imprint on the school that you could kind of call your own?
Yeah, I don't, I'm just a, for the lack of a better word, I'm very into fun things, kind of religion maybe, if you want to make it that way. So, when I was at Celebration, I saw the logo on the school and I says, man, I can't use that. I can't put that on a hat. So we changed the logo, or I changed the logo. One thing I pat myself on the back for, I don't want to boost my head too much, but that logo I created, so that's the thing about a new school is you feel like you have a lot of things to create. People talk about the culture of the school, and, I was at a school before where, man, they had a long history of not being good. And I found that really difficult to change. But this school doesn't have any of that. We're just creating it. We're creating culture. And we talk about climate. We don't talk about culture. We talk about climate. How you feel right now? So, what's going on right now? So, things like that. I just, and this time around, I just felt like I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be as goofy as I am. I'm not going to be completely PC. I'm going to be me. And so, yeah, we kind of, the elevate the pursuit. I love that we had, I didn't have to do a bunch because we have a great, motto. We have really cool colors, I think, in purple and orange, and I love purple already. I think the biggest thing is just kind of creating some type of, we have this at Celebration, I call it the SSTN, strong, smart, tough, and nasty. And so we kind of bring that. And I'm not really a Star Wars fan. I'm a Darth Vader fan. so we bring
I'm
that.
a huge Star Wars fan, Coach. So
I'm Darth Vader. Like, if it doesn't have Darth Vader in it, it's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch that. so that's what we dark side and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
Kid shows up on our lawn. The kids will look at me goofy. I look at them goofy, and what do we say? Welcome to the dark side. So that kind of stuff. It's just just
Right.
brings us some type of fun, atmosphere to it. I think is what I was really excited to do.
And coach, being genuine with the kids is such an important thing. And much like you're talking about early in my career, I wasn't very good at that. I was trying to be hard-nosed, tough, old school coach. And, the job got done. But like you said, when I started loosening up and having a little more fun at practice and doing some things, it's like it got more fun for everybody too. And my relationships got better with the kids too. And so part of that, you talk about the young coaches and growing up, part of that is realizing, hey, just be yourself. The kids are going to like you. And if you
Well,
want to be around them and be genuine, they'll love you.
the thing is it's all a fit.
Yep.
Because it's a fit here doesn't mean I'm a fit everywhere. They may laugh me out of the building somewhere else, but at our school it's a fit. So it's all a fit, and I fit here and they fit with me, and we don't have some kids that maybe some other people have. Our first year, I'm deep down a nerd, and that's what we got. And so our first year we won. They give you a plaque for having the best GPA in your classification. So year one, we got a state championship, and I paraded around with it. I'm like, hey, we're the only ones who had a state
As you
championship
should,
in Central
coach.
Florida. So,
Yeah.
and it was in academics, but it was something. So yeah, absolutely. You got to be you.
No, it's such a great point. All right, so let's fast forward. You are on your first set of practices. So let's talk a little bit about that. Did you guys start? Did you do a spring session at all, or were you just straight into fall?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because you had said something about having 19. So we we started out there at Bridgewater High School, or not high school, middle school. Oh man, they had the portable city back there. They got like a track in the back, and then it's a field, and it's not a bunch of grass, but there's some grass. And so we started with 27, and we didn't end with 27. And we had the 20 days. We had the 20 days in the spring, as we get, and
Yep.
we're supposed to play. The thought was we were supposed to play against the other new school, which is LBV, and it didn't happen because whatever we were going through, LBV was going through worse.
Wow.
So we start with 27. They couldn't field a team, you
Oh,
know, and then part of this whole football thing is matchups, right? Is matchups. So I remember that kind of didn't work out for us, and so now the next thing is maybe you want to play Toho, who I believe was a year older at the time, or no, they were a couple years older because Deese was there and all that, and they had a successful year, and they were switching coaches and something about playing, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if we, you know, this we don't have any seniors, man. We had 27, now we're probably down to 22. But you know what? Our kids did it. They did it happily, and if people don't know, we're the relief school for Windermere. So that's one thing you're kind of dealing with there is you're dealing with, okay, there's a team that wasn't successful. They're good at everything else. I tell you what, they're really good at every other sport, but not football. So anyways, so we're bringing, those are the kids we get. We're the relief school for them, and those are the kids we're getting, and so we don't know what we're going to see, right? And we get to 27, and we go through spring, and we managed. I think one of the biggest things I want to talk about too, though, is that spring, when we talk about coaches, I had a coach with me who I'm sure, Matt, you've met and run into, Ike Wilson, and he was my DC at the last school I was at. And Ike came with me to be my OC, and Ike had cancer for a long 7 years that he bouted with it. And he did that spring with those kids. And it was almost like as soon as spring was done, he passed. He was like, I'm done.
Oh,
I'm just
man.
happy to see this kind of start. And so one thing, culture wise, we put on the back of our helmets is Ike, just it's just an Ike sticker.
Yeah.
So just keep the memory of him alive and just all have his strength, because that man had strength to go through cancer for 7 years and never go to remission. And he fought that whole spring. I mean, this man, I think the last practice he's coaching on a chair and we're scrimmaging and we got to go over there and get the play. And I had to let him have it. Hey, y'all better go over there and get the play. So it was a very interesting spring. And then, no, man, that's something I remember. Our locker rooms, guess what they were? Portables. So
Yeah.
we had portable. We had an offensive portable, a defensive portable, little cubby holes where they put all their stuff in. It was kind of nice, to be honest with you. It's a nice little clean little thing. And
At least
then,
it's just yours, right, Coach? No one else should be in there. That is football's portables.
Nobody's in that portable except us. A very nice little cubby hole. We could turn on the smart board. Offense could be in one room. Defense could be in one room. You're looking at 12 and 12. Right? That's what it became. So, and then at the end of it all, you worry about those kids, because these kids are, again, we got the young version of Windermere. And I remember a kid, man, he got hit so hard. and so we had our version of a inter squad game, and you had little bleachers out there, and a few parents were out there watching, and this kid gets blasted right in front of him, and I'm like, oh. And he got up. But anyway.
It's one where you just kind of duck your head and you continue on and hope everything's okay. And
yep.
Oh man, it's not like we're out there. I mean, we had athletic trainers sometimes, right? It wasn't every day, but we had it sometimes. And oh man, finding the water every day, and what an interesting time that was. Golly.
Holy cow! Hats off to you, Coach. That's a situation to be in that that there's not enough time to take care of everything and to get everything set up in the day for you as a coach when you have to carry all those hats as trainer and coach and mentor and everything that you do.
It was very interesting. But I do remember those days that I remember the first day we bring out the helmet. One of our coaches has the helmet behind his back. They were, it was great, fun, exciting times like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was time to move to the school. They had the school built, so we were taking all our stuff over to the school. So, our kids packed up, because we were still there in the summer doing our summer workouts. We didn't have a weight room until
Until the building opens, right?
Middle August.
Oh,
So
wow.
school's open already, and we can't get into the weight room. And
gotta love it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you dealt with it. I really don't. So, Coach, year 1 to year 2, you guys made a tremendous stride in your program. Can you talk about that transition and what kind of culture you set at the beginning to really make that transition from year 1 to year 2?
Throughout this coaching thing, I think that you have to learn. It's hard, right? Because life is life, but you have to learn how to not have self-doubt, believe in yourself, basically, and believe in others. And so, it's the work. That's what I always say. Everybody can have all their little pretty statements and all that good stuff. Probably one of my biggest statement is, ability is great, dependability is everything. And so I have that sign in 2 places. That's in the locker room and in the weight room. And really, because we're a new school and I haven't bought a bunch of signs, it's the only signs I got going. But it's really important. It's really important to me to make that statement. It's about the dependability. So, and it's about the work. I think Floyd Mayweather has that. He says hard work. That's really what it's about. Whether you know a bunch of football, there's some coaches out there that probably, you know, we say that's an old cliche term is you could fit their knowledge in a shot glass, But if they
Coach,
know
I'm
how to
teasing
get
you.
kids to work hard, that's what it is. Again, I know that there's people out there that recruit and all that good stuff. Not me. I don't even know how. So you get what you get, and we got to work hard. That's the thing that is the common denominator in successful coaches is the work. How hard are you willing to work? And so that's what we get our kids to do is we feel like they work hard. We don't. A lot of people wait until January after the Christmas break to start their off-season, workouts. We start after Thanksgiving. That's when we start. If we get to that point where we go deep into the playoffs and we make it past that, then maybe we will go after Christmas break. But we haven't been there yet, so after Thanksgiving is when we start. And then we do something a little to amp it up after Christmas break. So as far as starting, I think that's the biggest thing as we created is just the effort, the hard work that it's going to take to get where you want to get. And so, even in the past, I've only worked out maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 3-day split because in high school it's hard. But nowadays we go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Friday. Heck, you play games on Friday, so you might as well get yourself prepared, right, on a Friday, and make it a competition day as much as we possibly can. But I think that my brain went into, all right, we're taking kids from a school that hasn't been successful at this game. What do we do differently to maybe be successful? I don't want to pick on them at all. I'm just saying it's what I had to do, So, and I noticed they had been a spread team, and I know in this day and age, everybody wants to be a spread. They think spread cures cancer. Well, I didn't think that way. So I thought that, we're going to keep the ball on the ground. We're going to try to be safe with the ball and try to compete. Here we are playing varsity football year one without seniors. So let's play some ball security, see if we can play some defense and compete. And you know what? Year one, for the most part, we did compete. There was a couple games that got out of hand on us, but for the most part, we competed and we won 2 games out of that. One game was against our, team that started the same year as we did in LBV, and the other team was our built-in rival, the kids that we took from Windermere. We beat them in year one, and so we felt really good about that. And then when I was at a COE, and we started up a COE, that's how many we won at a COE too, year one. Now it wasn't against our crosstown or built-in rival West Orange, but it was 2 teams that
different.
a little different. But guess what though? At a COE, the next year we did beat West Orange, and then we beat West Orange for the next 3-4 years. So, there's something to that. And so anyway, going back to Horizon, we win those 2 games, and we were really close in some other games. And then so you feel like, all right, next year we're going to keep doing that. So yeah, we run the ball. I talk to my kids all the time, but it's in Central Florida. There's a few teams that have state championships, and there's a few state, teams that have won state championships recently. One of which is Popka, who won 3 under Rick Darlington. And so we run single wing. We're gonna run this ball down your throat if we can, and we're gonna try to play defense. And don't get me wrong, if we got personnel to do other things, we do. But man, and I'm not one of these guys who sit there and try to make myself right all the time. But when you watch, and it's like, man, this is why we do what we do. You watch Florida State and Jordan Travis. You watch college football; they lose a quarterback. And then in college football, you lose a quarterback and your offense just pees down their leg. What the heck's a high school offense going to do when you lose a quarterback? Therefore, again, that's another reason we run single wing. I don't really need a traditional quarterback to do it. again, it's ball security a little bit. And tell you what about single wing, if you're not prepared for it, it's going to be a long day.
Absolutely.
So anyway, and that's what we do. And I really think that's part of why we've been successful. We believe in what we believe in. So year 2, fast forward, we won 7. And then fast forward past that, they called our district, according to Max Preps, which, Max Preps isn't always right, but according to Max Preps, it was the 7th hardest district in the nation because the 3 teams we lost to was the 3 teams in our district, and our district is the show. Let me tell you, it's ridiculous how they put us in that district.
For those of you listening, his district includes Wekiva, Edgewater, and Jones. If you're from Florida, those are 3 names no matter where you live. There are great teams all over this state. I'm a Jacksonville guy. I know those 3 names very well. So
I definitely looked at myself in the mirror one day and said, who dislikes me?
Yeah, what did you do in a past life, right, Coach?
Yeah, who put us in this? This is out of control. So,
Coach, it's so funny you talking about the single wing. Obviously, I don't know whether you know this or not, but you got Matt really excited because Matt is an O-line coach through and through. He would run the ball every down if he could.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, you had to just absolutely mention my Seminoles and bring up heartbreak all over again. So
I'm a Seminoles fan too. So I'm still feeling it. So
yeah, Coach, we can't talk about it on this podcast, my reactions to the college football playoff, but needless to say, I hope Kirk Herbstreit cries a little more. So Coach, talk about it. We talked about, going through and starting it up and equipment and all this stuff. How about fundraising? What have you had to do fundraising wise to obviously start up a new program? Because I'm guessing, I know they probably buy all your gear, but then past that, the bank account's probably not super full. And you have to do all these other things, right? You got to buy coaching gear and you have a banquet and you have all these other things. So talk about how you were able to fundraise in that first couple of years as well, and what kind of ideas you came up with.
So year 1, I feel really blessed. As, we didn't have to do too much year 1. You get all these grants or whatever you get to be able to just start your program. And so that's what we did. So year 1, I don't think was too bad. We were able to start a program, and I think we got most of what we needed. Now after that, look, I've been to some programs, and I went to Evans High School, so we're blessed over here. we fundraise and we do pretty doggone well. But it is a challenge because, nowadays, especially in Orange County, they don't give you any gate. Back when I was at Celebration, for the first couple of years of Celebration, I got 100% of the gate.
Wow.
And, my AD looked at me and was like, how do you have this much in this account? And I'm like, I don't know. And and so then he started, asking for some money for things. And then you go to another school and they, you got like 80% of the gate. And then now I get 0 gate. And so,
it's crazy.
Your AD or the athletics, they'll pay for helmet reconditioning, footballs, things like that. But other than that, you have to do it on your own. And so, we use vertical raise. I've been really creative in the past. In the past, I remember doing my last school, man, we did this big, one of my best friends is Matt Morgan. And, and so he's a, WXWW. I don't know how we became friends. I think we became friends that way. We were just doing something for kids, and he, anyway, he did a big wrestling event because we were trying to raise money for helmets. And that was pretty cool. But at this school here, we kind of do vertical raise, and they do well.
Yeah,
and,
I do remember the wrestling event you guys put on. I was pretty jealous about that. That's a pretty awesome event to get your kids hyped up and to raise money, and you guys can get involved with it too. And I thought that was an excellent idea.
Yeah, it was.
There you go. If you're out there and looking for crazy fundraising ideas, we're actually going to do an episode on this. So, Coach, that's one we're going to write down. We're getting a bunch of coaches to give us crazy fundraising ideas. I'm bringing one of the top fundraising guys here in Jacksonville on. So we're definitely going to do an episode just on all like the best fundraising ideas in the state of Florida that people can come up with. So, Matt, write that one down so we can bring up wrestling event.
Oh, yes. I got it down. Hey, Coach, the 80% you said, was that your school in Seminole County?
Yes.
I got 0 in Seminole County. So
0.
Listen, I would love to tell you that it was always 80%. It was said that it was 80%.
Right.
But
yeah.
It seemed like it changed at times. So
it always does. We've I've gotten this argument with many people about how everyone thinks football just gets everything, and I'm like, I don't think you understand how much money it costs to run a football program.
Yeah.
And unless you've been a part of it, no one knows. And you're always like, oh, you're walking around in this and you get this fancy stuff and all. I'm like, I work 100 extra hours a week. I think I can get a pair of Nikes. Thanks, bud.
Right.
So that's always something I got into it with people with. So Coach, can you talk about, and I don't want to be like too negative here, but can you just bring up maybe a couple setbacks that happened in the first couple years and how you overcame that? Like something that you just weren't expecting or something that went wrong. Obviously you brought up one in spring practice. That's a crazy story, and we're very sorry to hear that. Me and Matt have a friend that's near and dear that also passed away from cancer. He's wearing his hat, Tyler Lampy. So, but besides that one, can you talk about any other setbacks that happened and how you guys overcame it as a unit and as a school?
Yeah, tough, man. I'm so
we're here to ask the tough
glass
questions.
Half full, but I would definitely say the weight room, not being available early. That's huge.
Yeah.
You're trying to get your kids, again, here we are taking Windermere kids and we're taking the young version of them. And so it's very important to get in there right away. So that was probably a huge setback because we weren't able to get in there in the summer. And we weren't able to get there really till after the season is where we really made strides. So I would say that's the biggest setback. And then apart from that, just the built-in setback is you got what you got. We don't have. I had 2 seniors year one, and the reason we had 2 seniors is because they decided to homeschool, and they had brothers on the team, and the parents are like, why would we have these kids go to 2 different schools? So we had 2. One played quarterback for us, and one was like fullback linebacker type. And so I think that'd be the biggest within itself is just starting from scratch like you're starting, having no seniors, having kids. I remember going over to Windermere and the tack was, okay, Coach Thomas is going to go over here. My AD tells me, hey, I need you to go over there in Windermere one day. And they're going to, after spring practice, after the specific practice, they're going to send over to talk to you, the kids that are supposed to go to Horizon. And I'm like, this sounds like a setup. Sounds terrible. This doesn't sound good. So I'll do it. So I remember Ike even said that. Sounds like a setup. I'm like, yeah, it does. So I go over and I watch them practice. And then at the end, I probably got 5 kids come over and talk to me. And I'm like, this is outrageous.
How were their coaches not losing their minds over it? Like, we're going to have a coach come into our practice. And
I think they weren't losing their minds because they were part of the setup. They were like, oh, we're going to make sure minimal kids go over there and talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Situation they could control.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the biggest one right there is just starting with 27 in Bridgewater, and it was tough, and you have to figure out how to get numbers without recruitment. So I ran around and I did all kinds of, I'm not a social media guy. I looked back and said, man, what can I do different? And I kind of became a social media guy. So, but again, saw at a clinic, this guy was talking about how, man, I don't know anything about this. I'm like, me either. And, I'm listening to him, and he says, all I'm going to do is, all I do on social media is basically say, Horizon's great. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And so that's what we do is we just, Horizon's great. And so other than that, but kids do see it. They do, because they're heavy on that stuff. I did
They are.
get out there to CFYFL practices, but that was easy, man. I'm a football junkie, like I said. So I went out there and watched some, I think they were looking at me weird too. They were like, why is coach out here at flag football? It's flag. He does know this is flag. Why is coach out here at practice? But every little
but those
counts.
kids see it. Those kids see it. The kids see it. The parents see it. They see your interests. They see your intent. And I think it goes a long way for the marketing and branding of your program that you're out there pushing yourself, representing your brand, and showing those players and kids that you care. You want to help.
That's it. And with branding, you said, very important. I had a coach. He's a coach. He's one of those guys that said he's not a heavily football guy. He's got some other expertise, but he wants to coach, and he's going to something, a college or whatever he happened to be going to. He says, Coach, I'm going to this, blah, blah, blah. Should I wear Horizon gear? Yes.
Always.
So, and he says, man, it was great because somebody just came right up to me and said, hey, Horizon, I heard of you guys. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
I remember, I think Glazier 2 years ago, I saw you and your whole staff. It was just nothing but a sea of orange and purple.
Yeah.
It was great to see.
It's pretty. That orange and purple is very eye-catching. That's the word.
It stands out. It definitely stands out.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Perfect. So, Coach, we always end every podcast with the same question, and eventually coaches are going to start listening to this podcast and catch on to it. But until then, we surprise everyone with it. So here we go.
Yeah.
Coach, we ask every coach, what is the most unique thing your program does, or what is the best thing your program does that no one else does?
Man, okay. Yeah, that's a great question.
We catch everyone with that, so don't worry. You can take a minute to think about it, because everyone we ask that to, they look at me like, I can't believe you just put me on the spot there. But
I wish he was still doing the professional wrestling every year. That'd be good stuff.
I mean, Coach, that's a pretty darn good one. Hey, we had a pro wrestling tournament, but what's just or something unique, yeah.
Some type of hawk call, I'm calling claw, talon, something for the kids to make it very unique to just us, so that you're calling the name that pertains to us. And then, I showed up day one to first hitting practice. Maybe it was the first practice. I don't know. In a Darth Vader helmet. Like I own it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I own it, man. And, homecoming. I had the helmet on and went through the banner and jogged in the middle of the field. And I don't know, some kid was doing something. We had a mallet. Like we do, man. We also are very into Ric Flair. So
love it.
Yeah.
So, our kids do the Ric Flair saying every game. One of my guys that I grew up with, he's a professional long drive champion. He won the professional long drive championship for 2 years or whatever, and he got on social media for doing the Ric Flair saying. So he came and spoke to our kids one day, and we kind of have lots of fun, I guess, is the overall of all that good stuff. I mean, I got a Ric Flair robe on the sideline.
Do you?
Yeah,
love it, Coach.
big play chain.
It's awesome.
Yeah, big play rope. And so
Love
we're
it.
waiting on one kid to have that kind of energy to start doing the Ric Flair strut too. But they're too shy
Well,
to do.
see, Coach, you thought it was a hard question, and you may have come up with our most unique answer so far. So I love every bit of that. And that's why we asked that question, because we want coaches to be able to hear something really unique or really different that programs do, because I think that gives a great addition to this podcast. Everyone always asks, like, hey, how do you run quarters? And hey, how do you do this? And we're going to get into X's and O's on later episodes, but we really want to talk about the unique things that help coaches. And believe it or not, your answer may help some coach to realize, hey, I can be myself and we can be a little goofy and we can do that and have fun. So I love that answer, Coach. I'm super thrilled with it. That was probably the best thing you could have come up with right there. So that's a great job of answering that question. Matt, do you have any parting thoughts here?
No, I just think he's doing a fantastic job over there at Horizon High School, and I was glad you're able to come on the podcast, speak to us today. Really unique perspective. Not every coach gets to start their own, football program from the ground up, and I think being in that unique situation and having the personality, positivity, you're the right guy for the job, and hopefully our listeners can pull some things from that and see how that positivity speaks to the kids.
Perfect.
Yeah,
again, Coach, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great night, and maybe a little later on we'll get you on and we'll talk some X's and O's of defense, because I love talking defense with coaches.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.